Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the GitOps Happy Hour here on OpenShift TV. I am Chris Short, executive producer and host of all things OpenShift, I feel like sometimes. No, the voice of hybrid cloud is what they call me, I think.
I like that.
But today we are doing our GitOps Happy Hour with the one and only Christian Hernandez, and you've brought a fantastic topic for us. Would you like to
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
more about
So,
that? Yeah.
so first of all, it's kind of it's been I've been saying it's been a crazy week for like the past year, so I feel kind
Right.
of bad. Just keep saying it's just I'm just gonna say it's been a crazy year. So I planned to have like a few slides to go over some of these things, but it's just I don't know about anyone else here.
It's like moving through molasses this week.
Yeah, it's
It
just
very much feels like I'm getting pushed through the week as opposed to
yeah,
me
yeah.
tackling the week,
Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
normally I feel
I've
like
been
I'm knocking down
dragged.
tasks, but this time it feels like I'm getting pushed through them.
Yeah, yeah, like it's just I'm literally being dragged through the molasses. So I figure I just talk through this through today's topic. Someone mentions our t-shirts. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
actually matching t-shirts today.
Hey, we match.
So we're wearing
I'm pulling up the link right now. Don't worry.
yeah so I think I'm gonna ask Weaveworks for a Flux CD shirt. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I need one badly.
Yeah, we need something from those guys. So, anyways, our topic. I always go off track here. So our topic is we call it keeping Git a secret, right?
Hmm.
So kind of a
Oh,
play
well,
on words. So
yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah.
someone has asked, where are the drinks? And
Oh
since it
yeah,
is one of those
that's
weeks,
right.
this
That's
is
right. It's
actually one of the this is the first
that's
time
right.
I have drank on this show. I am drinking a I went and looked in my fridge for any kind of good-looking beer other than Bud Light, and this is what I found. It's from Holland, Michigan. It's
Yeah,
blueberry gin lemonade. It actually doesn't
yeah.
taste bad, and I do like
There
gin,
you go.
so
There you go. And you like lemonade.
mhm.
So so there you go. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
nothing wrong with
So
blueberries, so yeah.
yeah. So
Matches the
everyone grab.
shirt at
Yeah,
least, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. If you spill it, you got the shirt here. And also everyone else in audience land here. I bought a new mic, so specifically for this show. So let me know if I'm too loud. I'm still kind of tweaking the settings here. So
Mics are difficult to tweak. I literally
yeah,
have to tweak mine daily.
yeah, like and it's like
Good
go to
microphones
yeah,
pick up
yeah,
moisture.
yeah, exactly.
It's
So
pretty
it's
wild.
always bad. Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
bad times. So yeah. So today's topic, yeah. So get sealed secrets, right? So we're talking about secrets in a GitOps workflow, right? So if you guys saw the first episode, right? I kind of went over GitOps in general, demystifying
Hmm.
GitOps. One of the things we talked about is secret management, right? So um, in terms of having secrets in Git, um, there is that's kind of a scary thing to think about, right? So like when you're talking
Yo.
GitOps, right, you're storing everything in Git, and the security guys are like, not so fast. You're storing what in Git? you
Say
you
what
want
now?
to you want to
Huh?
store what in Git? You want to
You're
store
gonna
what?
do what?
You're gonna do what now? So it's a very scary topic because when you start saying that you want to store everything, including secrets, right, including things like database usernames and passwords, things like tokens, things like no, I'm not gonna let you uh, store it.
Mm,
Some of those guys, some of the security, there's all and obviously for good reason, the security um, there's a
security matters.
concern.
Yeah.
Yeah, the security matters. There's a concern. There's a security concern when it comes to having secrets, right? And I kind of touched on it a little bit
Hmm.
that first episode. So if you haven't missed it, go ahead, jump on YouTube. We have a playlist
I'm,
on
I'm
YouTube.
pulling the link. I'm pulling the link
Yeah.
right now. Don't worry.
So yeah, Chris has got that. Well, he'll have that in the playlist in the link in the chat pretty soon. So,
Yeah.
um,
Don't worry.
but
So excited.
there, there's multiple methods of managing this, right? So one of them um, is having a secret management system, things like Vault, right? Things like
HashiCorp
hash,
Vault.
yeah,
CyberArk has a product. I forget the
CyberArk,
name of
yeah.
it.
So Yeah. So these are so there's different products that do secret management, right? So one would argue that secret management isn't really technically GitOps. It's not GitOps friendly because you're not storing the secret in Git. You're storing it in this other management
Someplace
system.
else. Yeah.
So that's an argument for another day. Another way of doing this is through encrypting your secrets, right? So, and this is kind of like the thing I'm going to go over today. Is and one of the ways is Bitnami has something called sealed secrets, right? So the idea is that you store your secrets in Git encrypted, right? So you have that extra layer, right? I'm not saying like store your secrets. So like some of the guys actually store their secrets in GitHub. I'm pretty sure you are you have your own internal Git repository. However, that's behind a firewall. That's probably
because let's face it, even with an encrypted secret sitting out there, it's still possible someone could spin up 16 GPUs real quick and
exactly.
Right, like you don't necessarily great, it's encrypted and it's super high elliptical curve and all this other fun stuff, but you do need to realize that it can be decrypted at some point too.
So and we'll actually go over that, right? Like how to mitigate that. Some of the Canadian guys, right? The Red Hat Canada, they actually store they're all in, right? They actually store their secrets in GitHub, encrypted, right? But they store them there because one is they're just demos, right? And two, they can they can load up their demos with encrypted secrets and just kind of show that whole workflow here. So I'm going to share.
And I think
stop talking and start showing, right?
It brings up a practice that I picked up in a previous life of like rotating your secrets on a regular basis, right? Like, when you're doing sealed secrets like this and you're storing your secrets in Git, you can't just have your secrets out there for like 6 months, right? Like, it's just not a good practice, right? Like, so having a good policy around rotating those secrets and how to update those secrets in an automated fashion is really the goal here.
Exactly. And that's really where and that's really where you want to get to, right? Is there's some things I'm going to go over afterwards, after I kind of show this quick little demo here. But and you said it on chat, and I think it's worth repeating. Key rotation becomes a key factor. So the key is to have key rotation, right? And that's so someone says there might be a slight delay, but as long as you can hear me, right?
Well, hang on a second.
There might be a delay. We don't know. We're doing this live.
So we're doing this very live. If there is a delay, I apologize. If it's very distracting, I can fix
let us know.
But it's a very high impact mitigation.
It's a hammer, right?
It is a very big hammer. So if I clap,
a big hammer,
it's not that bad. Okay. So
Okay. So if it's too distracting, let us know.
For sure.
So let me let's jump on the horse here real quick. Let me do tmux because by the way, COVID note, right? I usually don't have SSH enabled on my laptop, but since it's COVID and sometimes I need to log in, right? So I'll SSH into my laptop.
It's been surprising how much like remote access I've turned on my local network. Just during the past few months, right? It's like, no, I really do want to be able to VNC into that box now.
Exactly. Like I actually maybe do want to SSH into my.
SSH has always been a thing for me, right? Like I love the SSH config file. And I mean like the client config file, because you can do like I have an SSH gateway into my house, and I can basically treat it like a VPN, right? Like I can port forward damn near anything in my house. If I want to see the kube proxy on some other system, I just open up an SSH session and then connect it as a local host port, and boom, there it is. You can do a lot with SSH. It's very handy.
Yeah, I remember at my last job, just going on this SSH thing, we had to work with, I forget what, some hosting company, or I forgot that they wouldn't let us, like, opening ports wasn't a straightforward process.
Okay.
They made it really hard to open ports, but they're like, you can have SSH, and I'm like, okay, and I smile. I'm like, that's fine. SSH tunnels everywhere,
Mm-hmm.
just like
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. It's like fine.
I cannot tell you
SSH,
how
yeah.
much I've abused SSH in closed networks.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
it's one of those
SSH, yeah.
protocols that they always leave open.
And they always leave open, yeah.
It's-
So yeah, so I have an application right here, and it's a standard application, right? It's a front web end. If you've seen everything that I've done, it's essentially the same. Um, uh, the same application is this priceless application. So it's just a DB, a
Mhm.
front end, and you need to log into the DB somehow, right? And that's usually done with secrets. So let's let me edit. What would it be? The deployment, right? So, oops, no, it is secret. Maybe if I cd into this here, there we go. Deploy. If I remember the next guy here, right? Okay, so then, and then on this side, oops. Let's see, GitOps examples, secret list. And then this will be, I think it's DB, I called this. We'll see. Yeah. Oh, this is, yeah, the database, and that's the front end. Okay. So so here on the right side, you see this is, I have a database that I'm, MySQL database that I'm deploying, and I'm just setting these values, right? Like username, password, things like that, right? That's hard coded. Oops. You probably don't want to do that.
Probably not a good practice.
What you want to do is, if you look on the left-hand side, you'll see here, for example, I set this in as an environment variables to get it from a secret, right? So like here, if you look at line 32,
yeah,
say secret ref, and it references a secret, right? And I just did this so you can kind of just see the differences. Here on the database, obviously you want to do it this way, the same way as you would do it, across your applications. But I just kind of wanted to prove that, show that point, right? That
yeah,
I have the environment variable is I'm loading it through a secret, right? And so,
which is kind of a foreign concept to some people. But your environment variables, you can protect them, and you can use config maps or secrets kind of equally.
Or secrets. Yeah. So yeah, and they all end up on disk, right? Like it's essentially,
yeah.
So usually for a secret, for like a database connection, I would do like a config map, but we're encrypting secrets, so maybe it's just better. Because a config map, it could be other stuff, right? It doesn't, it's not a secret. Not just usernames and passwords. It could be configuration things like that. So
exactly. Yeah.
So I have. Oops. Let me keep this up for a little bit.
You thought you had.
Thought I had, right? So yeah, this application has namespace, DB, service, deployment, all that good stuff. So normally, like in a GitOps workflow, right, I would add this to Argo, and Argo would read this in. But there needs to be a way that, one, if I'm storing something on Git, especially GitHub, especially something that's public, but even internally, right? Even internally in your internal Git, people don't want to store their secrets, right? In like repository that everyone can look at. Right?
There's some trepidation, rightfully so.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Oh, I don't know. I've been guilty, so I'm not making fun of anyone. I've been guilty of like accidentally checking in my AWS secret.
Oh,
in Git.
no, totally have done that before. Totally have
And
done
then-
that. If
and
you
then the morning
haven't done it
yeah,
and you haven't
I
learned
don't
how to
believe you.
recover from that,
Yeah.
you need to practice it because it's going to
Yeah.
happen to you.
It's gonna happen to you. Oh, that's such a bad times.
Yeah.
And then the next morning, there's a bunch of spot instances. You're like, what's going on? Anyway,
Luckily, I have
happened before,
bots set up on my GitHub account to watch for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the blast
exactly.
radius in time is very short, but it has happened. Yeah.
Oh, I remember that one incident with your AWS bill.
Mhm.
But by the way, you should post that that link to that article you wrote. Anyways, it's always a fun time, right? So
that whole article, yeah.
So sealed secrets, right? So the problem statement is essentially this: I can manage all my Kubernetes configuration in Git except secrets, right? So
yeah.
The solution to this is you encrypt your secrets with some key, right? By default, sealed secrets uses its own key, right? But you can provide it a key, right? You can provide it a way to encrypt it, right? So like, and then you can manage rotations and things like that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use sealed secrets to kind of just show how this workflow works. Very easy, right? I was actually talking to the Red Hat Canada guys. Again, shout out to you guys. You guys are cool. I kind of went back and forth, right? When to them, they're like, just try it. This is like really easy. I'm like, oh yeah, it is really easy. And they said, well, we kind of preferred it when you didn't think it was easy. Now we, because we seem smarter that way. But
right,
anyway,
yeah.
shout out to you guys, right? So the installation is actually really easy, right? So I come down here, and I'm using the same GitHub page, right, that Chris posted on the chat, so you can follow along if you'd like.
Yep.
So I'm clicked on installation.
Need it again, let me know.
Installation is really easy, right? There's a way to do it with Customize. There's a way to do it with Helm chart, right? Operator framework, Homebrew, right? There's all kinds of stuff here. But I'm just going to go to the releases page, right? And just download their. So first, you download the kubectl CLI tool, which I actually already have. Let me disconnect. Right, I already did that. So tmux attach. So there's no need to do that, but you can do it with brew install, right? So then the cluster side, you essentially do the kubectl apply command here. So now for demonstrations purposes, I'm going to install this in the default kube system.
Okay.
For you OpenShift users, don't do that.
That would be a bad decision, yeah.
Yeah, don't do that. They give you another approach to where you can use Customize to patch the namespace to put it in a namespace that you want, right? And so, but if you put it in the kube system, I don't have to create like a special user. It's essentially a kube system is something that OpenShift doesn't really touch. And if you're, there's security considerations, right? If you're going to install things in kube system, right? For instance,
some.
Yeah. For instance, like you can run containers as root in kube system. So
yes, very dangerous at times. And
very dangerous at times. But for this is demonstration purposes, I'm going to do it anyway, right? So only because again, it's been a crazy year. I didn't have time to.
That's just what we do. We do it live. That's just what we do.
We do it live, right? So if let me do OC status. So let me see where I am here. I think, yeah. So I am OSC Cloud. Cool. All right. Let's do the kube apply. Blah, blah, blah. Yes, yes, yes.
Kube apply, blah, blah, blah. That's official scientific terms, folks.
Yeah, kube apply. I like to do it again and then unchanged. When you see unchanged, that means you're
solid.
applied.
Yep.
So, Yeah. So let's do a watch on Cube CTL get pods under Cube system. All right, cool. So we have still secrets running.
Nice.
That wasn't so bad, was it?
Yeah, that was kind of painless.
So you're done, right? Like it's essentially that's it. There's other in terms of install, it's probably like the most straightforward install. So let's continue reading here about how to use it. Let me see here. Yeah, so it essentially you would store the sealed secret in Git, right? And it'll appear as just garbage. And what ends up happening is that at runtime, when the sealed secret gets read and then decrypted, and then a secret gets created, right? So there's a corresponding secret to a sealed secret. So let's go back here.
As convoluted as that sound, corresponding secret to a sealed secret is a mapping, right? Like think of it like that.
Yeah. So you don't manage the secret directly. So and you see why you don't manage the sealed secret will manage it for you. So let's go here, usage, right? So let's go to usage, right? So here, usage. So it's essentially you're going to create a generic secret, right? And then load it into some sort of manifest, right? They like JSON. I'm a YAML guy, right? Background doesn't matter. And then you just basically do no harm. Yeah, do what you want. Cube seal the actual secret manifest that you created, and then this new sealed secret, right? And you actually load that sealed secret into the cluster, which we're going to do with Argo, and then it will actually create the secret, right? So it's actually really straightforward. So let me go and where am I? Where is my terminal? There we go. So let me remove that here. So I will do kubectl create secret. My tab completion's failing me.
Cube seal basically encrypts passwords.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it encrypts
at its
most encoding. In the most simplistic,
In its most simplistic form, yes, that's the right way to look at it. But keep in mind that like secrets in Kubernetes are an encoding, and if you're encrypting and encoding, there's probably a little bit, better. What's it called? Not what is var urandom? Better entropy.
Entropy. Yeah.
Base 64 does nothing. Right. Exactly. But if you start throwing encryption algorithms at base 64 long strings, it does do something. And there will be, a data store for your secrets someplace else than public.
Well, what's funny is I actually, speaking of encryption of urandom, so like dev random and dev urandom, I was like, I always, back then I was trying to figure out like, well, what's the difference, right? And I forget which one, but it says it's more random than the next, right? Because it went into this like philosophical talk about what is random, right?
Yeah.
If I spit out the characters 777, that's technically random, even though they're in succession, right? Because when you're random, you could have repeating characters because that's just the definition of random. But like trying to be more random, it actually takes, I forget which one, either urandom or random. It takes into account things like that and tries to make it randomer.
There's more randomness in urandom than random. But it is still not. It is not completely random.
Yeah.
Have you ever read my first drafts of articles? What is random?
Yeah. What is random? Have you ever read my? Yeah. We'll use that as the encryption key. So I'm going to create a generic secret right here. So I'm going to create it. Let me go to Actually, let me do this. Tmux attach. How do you create another window? I think it's Control B C. There we go.
There you go.
Um,
You do remember. Look at you.
No, there you go. There we go. Create. Yeah, like much like Andrew, I can't type and talk at the same time. Create secret generic. I'm gonna create a generic secret.
There you go.
Price list secret, and then in the namespace price list, even though it doesn't exist yet, because I'm gonna do this as a dry run. Dry run equals client, because we're in cube 1.19 now. I believe.
Yes.
We're 119 now. We're
I'm on the 120 release team, so yeah, I got to edit a blog post later. Yeah.
Pretty sweet. So I'm gonna do things like, since this is a cooking show, I have this. So from literal, right? It means like I'm literally gonna give you a key value pair, right? So if I do Control B, there we go. So I'm gonna take things like. So the key is this, right? And the value is this, right? So on price list all the way down, right? It's just to make it easy. It's turtles all the way down there.
YAML all the way to the edges.
YAML to the edges, right? YAML to the edges. So I'm gonna do So literal MySQL DB is price list, right? And then I'll just copy and paste like some of this stuff here because
why not?
Yeah. So if you see here, I'm basically saying, from literal this, right? And basically I'm telling it to generate a YAML for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it does, right? So I can redirect that to right. So I have this here. And for some reason, for me, this is upside down. I don't know why. I always have to do this.
For you, it's upside down?
There we go. Well, I mean, the YAML's weird. It's valid. It just looks weird to me.
Right. Well, that's most YAML, so.
Yeah. It just looks weird to me, man. So I have, now I have the secret, right? But as JP Dade pointed out, that it when people first started working with Kubernetes, they're like, "Oh, it's encrypted." I'm like, "Well,
it's encoded.
It's encoded.
There's a huge difference. My DVDs are encoded. They're not encrypted."
Yeah. So if I clear this and then I cat it out, right? If I do an echo -n of let's just say this guy here, right? And then I do a base 64-D. You see the username here, right?
Yeah.
And that's the database, right? And then let's look at the password, right? My SQL password. And that's the password. So then you start to feel your warm and fuzzies become less warm and less fuzzy, right? Because now it's like
they become very prickly. Yes,
they become very warm and fuzzy. It goes from warm and fuzzy to cold and prickly, right? So we have that
faster than you can say sealed secret.
Yeah, faster than you can say sealed secret, right? So then you're like, okay, well, I don't want to store this.
No, hell no.
Right? So you don't want to store this in Git, right? I definitely don't want to store this in Git. So, but what you can do is very easy, kubectl -o YAML, because I'm a YAML guy. Right, the secret
YAML.
to price list sealed, right? We'll call this a sealed secret. So what this does, essentially, it takes your secret, encrypts it, and spits back out an encrypted YAML. So if we do here price list sealed, right? Now this is something that you would expect, right? So now you have sealed secret, price list secret in the namespace price list, but now you have encrypted data, right? Let's do a little bit more reading.
I like to read.
I read what encryption they used here. I'll get into the rotation in a bit. I just kind of want to see if I can see.
Oh, like what key curve and so forth they're using?
Yeah, like if they're doing.
It's definitely elliptic curve or elliptical curve, whatever it's called.
Well,
I just forget.
I see Gerald's on. I don't know if Gerald, if you know.
Gerald would know. I feel like
Gerald knows. We have a saying that Gerald's always right inside the inside our little chat system, and he jokingly said, he goes, "You should tell that to my wife," which I thought was funny. Anyways, usage. Okay, yeah. So if anyone can find, I don't want to spend like the whole next half hour looking for this, but if anyone except when he's wrong, that's what Gerald says.
Nice.
If everyone knows what algorithm they use to encrypt it, go ahead and put it in the chat. So now I have my encrypted secret, right? So this here, I can actually add it to Git. So let's do that, right? So let's press this sealed to GitOps examples. What am I using? Sealed secret list. There we go. And then let's go to git add. I'm gonna do, even though Langdon doesn't like it, I'm gonna do that.
You should definitely do it because Langdon doesn't like it.
Because he doesn't like it, yeah.
Right. That's why you should do it.
That's what. Yeah.
I'm that coworker.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm that coworker. I'm gonna do it because you hate it.
It works, right?
Yeah.
Can you really complain if it works every time?
Yeah, if it works. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I know what git add -a does, and I know why he doesn't like that I do it, but I ran it. So like the sysadmin in me, it's like I ran into a problem once, and this is how I fixed it. So this is how I do it all the time now.
It is the bitten hand method of learning.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I accidentally. This will prove actually Langdon right. So I hopefully he's watching. I accidentally added the swap files. So I'm going to. So I'm going to. So I'm going to RM.
Serves you right.
Yes.
If your git ignore file is up to date, then theoretically it should be okay.
That's right.
Yours was not.
Mine was not. Yeah. So another GitOps tip is use a git ignore. Yeah. What did I just say about your git ignore? Yeah, exactly.
You've got to have an up-to-date git ignore file. Like that is table stakes nowadays.
I'll put Langdon was right. How about that? Git push. There we go. So there we go. Now it's official. Now we have recording of it. That Langdon was right. It's on my GitHub.
Langdon was right. He can pull that from YouTube. He's got admin access.
That's right. So I have here the sealed secret added, right? And it's encrypted. It's all encrypted.
Very encrypted.
Good stuff, right? Look at that.
Yeah.
So you
good luck trying to do something with that.
Yeah, you need to boil the oceans. Yeah. So some people, it's like, you know, they're still sketchy, and you know what? I understand it about.
And that's why key rotation exists.
Yeah. There's key rotations which we'll go over in a bit. And yeah, they're still a little sketchy. You know what? I get it, but it's like the level of effort.
Totally understand.
Like, yeah, totally understand. But like, you just got to take in consideration the level of effort, right? So then,
do you want to keep it in Git, or do you want to keep a reference to something else that's internal in Git? Take your pick.
Take your pick.
Do you want to just right? Like, do you want to kind of lift back the curtain on where people get secrets from in your infrastructure in Git, or do you want to just put them there?
Yeah, or just put them there encrypted.
Up to you.
Yeah. And like I always just put in my mind, I play this game like, okay, so like they breached my firewall into my DMZ. They breached the firewall in the DMZ. They somehow figured out where my Git server is. They somehow broke SSH, so they'll be able to clone that. And then they'll run some sort of fancy algorithm. Like at that point, like if you're that far into my network,
right? Like I couldn't stop you anyway.
I couldn't stop you anyway. You have the technology to decrypt this, but I understand.
You're in. So, yeah.
So this is a lot safer than just doing base64.
Yeah. Well,
you that.
That's an understatement, but yes.
So let's go to Argo, right? So we're wearing the shirt, so we might as well do Argo. So yeah, isn't it 12:30 in LA? Yes, it is, but it's 5
Close enough here. 3:30.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. We're all inside.
Yeah.
So
where am I gonna go?
So let's create an app. I'll call this price list. How about that? In the project default, I'll do a manual because to GitOps examples, and then I want what is it? GitOps examples secret list. Okay. Instead of price list, I do a secret list.
There you go.
Secret list. Hopefully that's the right one. We'll see in a minute. Destination cluster, this local cluster. And then go Argo go. All right. So then it's
go.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So it's out of sync. So notice how it says here, it recognizes that you have a sealed secret, right? Desired manifest versus live manifest.
There's a good question in chat here if you got a second.
Let me sync this real quick and then we'll. Yeah. All right. So as the sync's happening. All right.
Cool. Is it possible to run multiple sealed secret controllers in a cluster? Otherwise, only the cluster admin will be able to add to it, right?
Oh, that's a good question. Let's look at the documentation. I haven't thought of that, but yeah. So in this design, only the cluster admin is able to. Well, let me take that back. With kubectl, I think the end user can just call kubectl.
If you have access to the namespace, you should be able to add secrets to it. Like, that's de facto, I feel like.
Yeah. I haven't tried it. That'd be a good experiment to run. I don't know if it's possible to run multiple. Let's look at the
controllers. Yeah, I don't know.
So let's look here. So this installation controller. So there's no information about controllers.
So doesn't the controller run at like system level and then provides access? Like if it sees a secret that's tagged or not tagged, labeled accordingly, it's going to work on it. Maybe not that easily, but yeah. I thought there was something about it where it was like.
Yeah. So here it is. So this is how it works, right? So a sealed secret are from the point of view of an end user as a write-only device, meaning that you can encrypt your secret. It's the controller's responsibility to decrypt that.
Right.
So you can encrypt your secret.
You can throw thousands of secrets at this thing.
You can't decrypt your secret, though.
Right.
Isn't that interesting, right? You can't decrypt your own secret. But you're the one knowing what goes in, so I don't know why you would want to decrypt it. And
in theory, you're the one knowing what goes in. If you're doing it right, you might not.
Might not, yeah. That's true. Yeah, exactly, yeah. You're just provided, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. So the scope of Seal Secret is so the point of view is it's a write-only device, right? So so there's
which is a foreign kind of concept. I get.
Yeah. I can encrypt my secret, but I can't decrypt it. That that's the idea. So as a regular end user, right? So cool. So let's take a look here. This is syncing. So this is synced. My application is up and running. Pretty cool, right? So let's take a look at what it created. So let's go here. Let's do OC get. Let's go OC project. Price list. And let's do OC get secrets. Right, so notice how it created a secret. All right, price list secret. If I do OC, let me do kubectl. Kubectl get secret. And then price list secret -o YAML. Oh, I hate this new thing that they have, but the field thing. Okay. There should be a kubectl get and just say I don't care about managed fields, but
yeah.
I understand why it's there. I just give me a lever to turn it off.
Right.
So there should be, if I go through here, a
opaque should be right above that.
Well, it decrypted the secret, right? So you can see that there's the base 64 here. I'm looking for the annotations.
Priceless secret. Is it not the self link?
Oh, owner references. Yeah, so this is the owner reference, like who owns, what created the secret, right? And it's the sealed secret created this secret, right? So it's so then you can actually go and if I go here, actually let's look at the app first. Let's see if it's, I want to prove that it's running, right? We're in the show me state. You're in the show me state? No.
That's Missouri. You keep doing that.
I keep thinking you're in Missouri for whatever reason. You're in
Michigan, Missouri. I mean, they
Michigan,
both start with MI.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm in the better state though. I'll just leave it at that.
Correct. That's right.
I don't even know what our logo, or it's pretty Michigan, but whatever. Yeah. Like I don't know what our like Latin one is. I forget. Sorry.
So let's go here. Let's do iPhone 5, cool phone, right? We'll for $65, this could be yours, right? So let's save that. So the fact that I'm reading and writing to the database means my secret worked, right? And the decryption of that secret worked, right? And so, what was my train of thought? Oh yeah. So now that you know the encryption works and you know how to encrypt things, you can actually go and by the way, again, I reiterate the fact that I'm just taking this off Bitnami's GitHub page. There's a wealth. There's a great information here.
Oh yeah.
You can annotate your current. There we go. Template secrets. You can annotate your current secrets, and it'll the sealed secrets will encrypt it for you. 1 second. Where is it? Annotate. Yeah, managing existing secrets, right? So so instead of going back and retroactively encrypting everything, you can just annotate them, and the sealed secret operator, whatever it is going to manage those for you, right? So cool. So now that we know that works, now I have my secret in GitHub. I like to go over the kind of common misconceptions about key renewal, right? So
thank you.
So which I read this and I thought this was I thought this was great. It was a great read, right? So like
a good
secret,
RFC.
like yeah, good old RFC, right? So like the keys are not like access control keys, like a password. So like you don't think about it as like a password, right? The key is more like a GPG sort of situation, right? Yeah. So so when your key has been compromised, your immediate reaction may be to delete your key, which is probably not what you want to do, right?
Well, if you want to maintain access.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because like, oh, it's been compromised. I'm just going to delete my key. And then all of a sudden, well, I can't. Well, now your
now the
secrets
application's
are just gone.
down.
Yeah. Well, now you can't decrypt. You'll lose access to it, right?
Right.
So a couple things happen, right? First, you generate a new key. That just makes the
step one.
Step one, generate a new key. 2, go in and actually change your passwords. Yeah. So if your key is compromised, you just got to assume that everyone has your password now. Separate from your encryption, just your password, right? Like your price, like the username and password for my database. Right. I have to go and change those.
Like that should be considered public knowledge.
Yeah. So now, yeah, exactly. So you have to actually go and rotate your secrets, just your secrets themselves. And then after that is done, you re-encrypt those secrets with your new key.
Yes.
So only then would you ever maybe think about deleting.
Yeah. At that point, you would delete an expired or exposed key. For me, I would like to see this process like shortcut somehow, right? Like, you know, like I would like to be like, this key is compromised, and there like be like this third button as opposed to like delete.
Yeah.
Like
Gotcha.
compromised, and it starts just rotating everything because it's aware of where, like, it has the context. It would be nice if there was that feature added where I could be like, no, this has been compromised, and it starts the rotation and starts everything else, like an operator or something.
Yeah, like an operator would be nice, right?
Yeah.
And I like this. I like this. I like this sentence here, right? So the sealing secrets is just a mechanism, like an envelope, right? If a secret is leaked, there's no going back.
Right.
So there's no going back. You just have to move forward.
Yeah.
Go beyond that.
This is your reality now.
This is your reality now. Right.
Embrace it.
Don't expose it. Right.
Yeah.
Embrace it. And then you could manually manage your keys, right? So there's this. The thing is twofold, right? Regularly rotate your keys, but also don't just rely on that.
Right.
Regularly rotate your username and passwords, right?
Yeah.
So just because you're using encryption doesn't mean the policy of you changing your usernames and passwords, that shouldn't go away either, right? You have to use them in tandem, right? So you have to keep rotating your username and passwords, right? Your secrets, keep rotating your secrets however you have been doing them, but then also add this other layer of security of, oh, by the way, I'm also encrypting them, right? So someone mentioned this earlier in the chat, and I kind of want to bring this up.
Okay, go ahead.
There are two drawbacks, right, from using sealed secrets, right? One, and someone mentioned it in chat, is that the decryption key exists on the cluster. So anyone with admin access to your cluster can potentially see that decryption, right? So it's.
But if you don't trust your cluster admins, you've got
if you if you don't trust your cluster, then what are you doing? Right?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's true. So that's just something you just have to keep in mind. Is the decryption key is in your cluster, and you just have to keep that in mind, right?
Yeah.
And
it has to live somewhere, and this is where it is. It's an etcd.
This is where, it's stored in etcd, and that's just the way it is, right? You can encrypt etcd, by the way. You can encrypt etcd.
You can. We have wonderful guides on how to do it.
Yeah. Not only can you do it at rest, like you encrypt your disk, but you can also encrypt the actual entries in etcd.
Yeah.
So if you want to get like really, you're like encryption all the way through, right? And another drawback, as I see it, and I kind of mentioned it, and I kind of want to bring it up, is that this just encrypts your secrets, but it's not a secret management system. There's nothing that manages, right? Like you have to rotate your secrets. You have like managing of those secrets still falls on the administrator, right? And there's things like Vault, right? And then there's things like encryption. I'm just surprised there hasn't been something that does both, right? That there's a secret management system that provides something like sealed secrets all in one system, right? So I'd be interested to see if anyone, right, like if anyone in a future time does something like sealed secrets, but also does manage your secrets independent of that encryption, right?
Right.
So that would be, so that's just another shortcoming. You have to manage your secrets. I don't know if you'd call it a shortcoming because I'm managing my secrets anyways. So
right, like in a perfect world, you would rotate the algorithm with which the secret is created, but that's not exactly easy. And the algorithm has to be designed to be kind of tweaked that way, and the cryptographic stuff in use nowadays is not designed for like that high level of, hardened target, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
right? Like we're
Yeah. Yeah.
we're not doing, like hardcore, like state level type secret stuff
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
most of the time. But can this do that? Yes, if you treat it correctly and set up the right, kind of configuration to do so. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah, it's just I am I still have that dream of the fact that I can submit a sealed secret, but I don't have to worry what the secret is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's managed by some system that does regular rotations of the secret. Because to me, I don't. So as a developer, and maybe if there's a developer on the chat or even as an admin, like, do you even care what the username and password is?
Nope.
Right? Like, it doesn't matter, right? I just
No.
know I just use this config file and I can connect. That's all I really, right?
Point
So
to this string and I can connect. Go.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
like, so management, maybe less of a big deal than I'm making it out to be. I'm just thinking of it from an admin point of view. It'd be
Like,
nice that if I don't have to worry about rotating the secrets.
right. Like you should not be from like an ops or dev or any of the personas that we would be talking to on this channel. Like key rotation should be automated for you.
Yeah.
Right. Like this should not be something that you are tackling yourself. Right. Like your cluster admins should be saying, okay, here is our key rotation policy. Does this work for you? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Right. Like this needs to be automated for you.
Yeah. And it should be compliant, right? Like
Right.
yeah. So, I mean, at some point, I also like the idea of just randomly generating a secret for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah,
like if
like
I create
that
an
I don't even
application,
freaking know. Yeah.
yeah, like no one knows really, right? It just generates the secret, encrypts it, adds it on there, and then like why do I care, right? Like why do I care?
I don't care.
So as
If
long
it's
as it's
within,
compliant, right, for
yeah,
whatever
if
you
it
do.
meets my policy needs.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Someone says, I guess you guys never had to go to a jump box. I have. That's where I do my SSH tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta
Yeah, exactly. That's where I get crafty. Yeah.
That's where I get crafty. My SSH tunnels. You could even, by the way, a jump box, you can make it act like a router.
Proxy
You can
pass.
make it act. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can totally jump from a jump box straight into a host.
Yes. Yeah.
It's
I've
totally
done that.
possible.
Yeah. 3-level jump box is very, yeah. Like one that SSH and it just jumps 3 times right to the thing that you're trying to.
This box is the external, and it goes from the external to the internal, and then from the internal to that one part of the network where the databases are, and then I can get to what I need.
Yeah, exactly. So it's so yeah. So yeah, we're maybe 7 minutes out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have any questions in the chat or you got any thoughts, any ideas.
So there's one question, right? Like, Ahmed asked it a little bit earlier, and I think it's like the difference between YAML templating and the pipelining and execution of it, right? So is Argo preferred to something like YTT pipe OC apply -f or JSONet/Helm, etc.? I thought Argo is more of a workflow tool. Yes, you're correct.
Yeah.
I think YTT and JSONet are both templating tools, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So like, yes, you would still template your YAML with Argo. Argo would just be the thing maintaining the declarative state.
Yeah, correct.
And then Carlos Santana asked, where is the specific location of the GPG key? Is that in a secret incube system? It's a good question.
So
where would it put that?
That would Gerald knows
that. If you're still on, Gerald.
If you're still on, Gerald, or I can go to his GitHub page.
Well, that works too.
GitHub.com/ I think Red Hat Canada. Oh, Canada, our own native land. This is not it. Wait, let's Google Gerald Noon. G Noon.
It's in the project where you installed the sealed secrets controller.
Gerald Noon. Oh, there's a Gerald Noon 1. There's a Gerald Noon GitOps, so I believe this is it. Oh, this is his Sonar project. Where is G Nun?
It's in the project. It's in the project where you installed the sealed secrets controller. I don't know what that means, but that's what it means.
Yeah. Let me look at Gerald.
That's what Gerald says.
Where's Red Hat Canada? There we go. Oops. I can spell sealed right.
Have you ever used it with Customize? If so, how do you deal with the lack of support for secrets generator to trigger rollouts on secret updates?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
Andrew Pitt did this work. Yeah, there was a script somewhere. I forget where it was. He had a script. Is it this one? There we go. Andrew Pitt. He has. We go to see. Maybe it's set up. There we go. Oh, there it is. Good old chat. Where is it now? Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Okay, there we go. It's it. So to answer your question, who asked the question?
Carlos Santana, I believe.
Carlos Santana.
Yes.
Love your music.
Yes.
It's in the cubes. It's a secret, ironically, in the in the cube system. So wherever you installed the sealed secret.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's right here. Oops. Control B. There it is. So here's the there's the encryption, the encrypting key. So.
All right. Now that everything's been thoroughly exposed.
So now everything. So now you can decrypt my. Yeah, it's with the label. Yeah, correct. Yeah. So actually, let me paste this into the chat. Sorry, Gerald. I am revealing all your secrets here. So that's here. Yeah, so the public key is here. So it's in the namespace that you've installed the sealed secret in a secret, right? And you can extract the TLS.crt. And it's base64 encoded, so you can decode it. So
would kubectl CLI then extract it? No, it just uses it in the creation, the writing to disk of the new secret, right? Like it triggers a process that says, okay, take this input, which is base64 encoded, and then encrypt it with this key, and then write it to disk.
Yeah. So here, someone said, so someone asked about, have you used it with Customize, right? So with Customize, it's a templating engine, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't see why it wouldn't work with templating. I don't know why you would template a secret, because I just don't know what that use case would be if you want to templatize the encrypted.
I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I think, I would just load the secret as is, right? It would have to be part of your workflow because like if you're going to rotate things, but that would just be a new manifest. So this is you're talking about the CI part, not the CD part, right? Mm-hmm. Because the CI part would you would do all the things that you would need to do in your CI part. The CD part, it comes at the end, right? CD is the
the actual
US
delivery.
deployment,
Yeah.
the actual delivery, continuous delivery / deployment, however you want to call it. How you deliver it, yeah. So you're talking more about the CI part than the CD part. So I know that's probably not the answer you wanted or you were looking for.
Right.
I haven't had to deal with it with customized directly because I didn't have to touch the sealed secret that often in a CI/CD pipeline, right? Because the password usually stays the same unless it's rotated, but then I would just generate a new sealed secret file.
There's questions just rolling right on in now.
Yeah.
Does GitOps break if another admin changes things manually? It doesn't break. It will force the state back to the declared state in GitOps. Is there a way to get notified if cluster level things are updated behind your back? Yes. Yeah.
So
that's
So if I let me go over here. If I go to let me do this here. Let's go to workloads. Let's go to secrets, right? That's not this one here. Let's go to
things not managed in GitOps. Yes, if it's not managed in GitOps, then if somebody changes it, then you're not going to know about it.
Correct. Yeah.
If you are managing things with GitOps, though, it will put things back to the declared state.
Well, yeah. So this is one of the things is someone mentioned it's like GitOps is really all or nothing, right? Like if you are doing like I want to manage everything except these things. With then you're not really doing GitOps, right? You're doing I don't know what you're doing. Like you're just syncing resources.
Right, like you could have certain projects using GitOps, but not the entire cluster. That would be weird.
Yeah. That wouldn't be GitOps. You're using Git as a source of truth, but you're not really doing GitOps itself.
Right, like you're doing development with Git.
Yeah, you're doing development. Yeah, you're just using Git to store your manifest. It's essentially at that point, right? Because if I do a sync and I do a prune, meaning get rid of everything not managed by Argo or by Git, like it'll start deleting things, right? That it's just not managing. And so, you can't do like a half GitOps, right? You have to be all in or nothing, right? So, and that's actually
good thing. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have to be all in.
It forces you to adhere to good standards and good practices.
Yeah. So not actually the next episode, but the episode after that, the happy hour, I'm going to actually be talking about operators in a GitOps world. So, which actually is kind of related to this question you asked, which is the only reason you brought me up, because operators does a lot of what GitOps kind of does, like automation, and where that demarcation is. So I'll go more into it later during that episode, but it'll be cool. So rotating one active key is kind of tricky. So when you rotate a key, the old one doesn't go away.
Right. Like you have to force the old one to go away.
Yeah. Let me see here. It says it here, but anyways, because there's an automatic rotation that happens actually in sealed secrets. So they actually rotate the key used, but they keep the old one around, obviously, because you can't decrypt something if you get rid of the key. But it doesn't actually go away, right? So if you want a key, when you rotate a key manually and you want the old one to go away, you have to do it. You have to actually delete it. So.
Yeah. Cool. Is there a simple way to gather all cluster level things under GitOps?
Yeah. So simple, no. So
no.
So the answer is no. But I mean, it'd be nice to be like, I know what you mean, because what you want to do is like OC get all -YAML, right?
Yeah.
And just load that into a file. But you have to go. Unfortunately, it is a painstaking. It'd be cool if someone created an exporter, like a YAML exporter of all my objects. That'd be cool.
I mean, I feel like something like that exists, but it's probably not as useful as you might think, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's just like a backup at that point, right? Like You still have to execute things in the right order.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So cool.
Yeah, you don't want all of your objects. Yeah,
that's true.
A lot of those are ephemeral. Yeah.
So, yeah, you would have to have some sort of delimiter, like like operators. Operators are great example of that. You don't want everything the operator creates. You just want the thing that instantiates the operator.
Right.
And then the operator in all its automation will then take care of the rest, right? So you do have to have a demarcation, right? A delimiter somewhere.
Yeah. You got to have a nope, don't need this level of depth kind of thing. Yeah.
So
cool.
Cool. So we're I know we're a little bit over, but it's just been cool. It's been fun.
This has been.
So do we want to do we want to talk about our next episode?
Yes.
Of the GitOps Happy Hour. Actually, only it's the 4th episode and I already have a special episode. How cool is that, right?
Wow.
only my 4th episode is going to be a very special
GitOps
Happy Hour. So
extra special.
So do you want to tell them about it, Chris? Should I tell them
I mean, it's been updated in the calendar now. Go ahead. You tell them.
So
their thing,
we're going to have next week is
next week?
KubeCon.
Week after
right?
next
week? No, the week after next, right? The week of KubeCon, right? The next episode. The week of KubeCon, we're going to have a special episode of GitOps Happy Hour. We're going to bring in some of the bigwigs, right, at Red Hat, talking about advanced cluster management, about OpenShift GitOps, right? Some programmer developer tooling that we're building around GitOps. We're gonna have a Ask the Experts panel. We're gonna have a live discussion, right, with some of the cool folks here.
A lively discussion, as a matter of fact.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. So
it will not disappoint. I promise.
Yeah, no, we had a meeting about it this morning. We're all really excited about it. We're gonna have a special edition of GitOps Happy Hour, KubeCon edition, and we're gonna have some cool special guests coming up. So make sure to tune into that.
Yeah, tune in 2 weeks. Almost the same bat time. It's definitely the same bat channel though.
Definitely the same bat time channel. It'll be around the same time. It might be. Yeah. It might trip 30 minutes.
It's a little earlier, than normal. But yeah, it's all part of KubeCon and the things we're doing that week. So yeah, we look forward to seeing you then. And thank you all for joining us today for this episode of GitOps Happy Hour on OpenShift TV. Thank y'all.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
Stay safe out there.
Yep.